Bloxburg just announced some really good news for the next Bloxburg update that is coming later this week, and many people are really excited, so let's talk about it. First up, let's go over the most exciting news. Job earnings are getting increased. In my previous video, so many people were complaining about how little money they now made, and a lot of them said that low pay was their reasoning for quitting. So if this new increase in earnings is the only reason why they quit, maybe they will come back. I do see why the Bloxburg devs thought that lower pay was a good idea, because it made them more money, but apart from that, it negatively affects the players and the game as a whole. So increasing the pay back to normal is definitely a really good change. Another big change is towing bills and hospital bills getting removed. The new bills never really had any reason to be in the game in the first place. Keeping your moods up and keeping your vehicle in parking spots can get really annoying. So I'm glad that they're removing them, and even better that they acknowledge the bills weren't a good idea. They said that in the future they will focus on finding ways to create immersion without things feeling punishing. I don't think I really need to comment on that statement because that's exactly what everybody wants. So once again, another good step in the right direction. And the third change is adding a skip all button to the tutorial. Many players that joined Bloxburg when the game went free were struggling to get through the tutorial. This caused them to quit the game and never come back, which is probably a big reason as to why the player count is so low even while the game is free. But now that there is a button to skip the tutorial, the chances of new players staying are much higher. Another good announcement is that controller support has been fixed. For those of you who don't know, controller players are not able to turn their camera in build mode. That's a pretty important feature to have, and this bug has been around for a very long time. But now they have announced that controller players will now be able to turn their camera. The developers will also dedicate time to improve the console experience on Bloxburg, which is very good because at the end of 2023, Roblox was introduced to PlayStation, and now there are over 200 million console players on Roblox. That's a big audience, and Bloxburg needs to make sure that they have proper support. And that is all of the changes coming to Bloxburg. But we still need to go over the updates, and one of them is really cool. Before we do that, if you could subscribe and help me get to 180,000, I would really appreciate it. Bloxburg is adding a new public neighborhoods feature. They didn't go into much detail about this update, but if I were to guess, it would probably be something like Liberty County's public servers. For those of you who don't know Liberty County servers, it looks like this. There are hundreds of servers to choose from, and they are all ran by players. If Bloxburg's public neighborhood feature is anything like this, finding people to play with will become much easier, and roleplay servers will also get way more popular. That's because players will create fast food servers, law enforcement servers, school servers, building servers, working servers, and pretty much every other server you can think of. I bet public servers are still going to be dead, but you can now easily find a ton of servers that aren't, and that is a lot better than complaining on Twitter. The message also has some future plans that we should talk about. First up, Bloxburg wants to be more transparent about their plans, and they want to communicate with the players more often. One way they're doing that is by letting the community managers give us more information about updates on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and their other social medias. We are going to receive clearer and easier to understand explanations as to why they make certain changes to the game, which hopefully that means we won't get any more explanations talking about Bloxburg's economy. And finally, they want to gather your feedback more often because they actually plan on using it. At the end of the message, they stated that they want to build back trust with the community. After everything that has gone on, trust is definitely one of the most important things they need to focus on. Trust leads to happier communities, happier developers, and better updates. One of the first ways they plan on doing this is by hosting a Q&A with the community. We will be able to ask them questions and receive answers directly from the development team. It's definitely a very good step towards regaining trust. There is one last thing at the bottom of the message that is pretty important, and that is Froggy Hops, studio manager and game director. This alone isn't very important until you know the context, which he tweeted about. Froggy stated that he had the game director role up until the beginning of 2024, and at the beginning of 2024, the game director changed to someone else, and I think we all know the not so good updates that followed with that leadership change. But as of recently, Froggy returned to directing Bloxburg, and he is also now the studio manager. This makes me very excited for future updates because if you remember when Coffee Stain purchased Bloxburg, Froggy was behind those updates, and those were some of the best updates that Bloxburg has ever received. Some examples are the Observatory, Beach, Bloxburgers, and gym revamps. Froggy has been around since the beginning of Bloxburg, and I believe that he is the best person to run the game because of how much time and effort he puts in. You should be excited for the future of Bloxburg too, because I bet we will have a ton of really good updates ahead of us. Overall, this is a very good step in the right direction, and if the developers keep it up, we will hopefully see the player count begin to rise. And that is all of the news on Bloxburg. Make sure to leave a like and comment your opinion on this announcement. My social medias are also down in the description if you want to follow me there. But that's it from me, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.